Dang. I said the show this time where y'all can see this. Y'all has 19.33 acres for sale out here where I'm at. But that's not the target point of this conversation. But yeah, man, getting into the actual conversation with the people. A lot of people truly and really don't like, you know, having to answer and be responsible for what they need to be responsible for. You know, saying the least, when it comes down to it, a lot of people need to focus on what matters. Shout out to Unbiased LLC in the building. You know, I be getting you confused with this other channel. Man, I forgot the name of their channel. It's biased something too, but it's like it's a whole nother story. But both of y'all do crab. And I'm like, when I see one and I see the other channel, I know y'all have different faces, but it comes, I'm like, I'm confusing with the names. And so I'm steady having to, go back and forth. But the main reason for the, stream that I'm doing now, uh, did one yesterday, was talking about out on old people, views and likes and stuff. And the lady told me, tell him Stewart, her channel, about my energy was off that day. And she said, you're always coming off as a vibrant person, trying to help people, get people into, you know, ownership of their life, their family. And she said, your energy was so off yesterday. And I was like, yeah. But when it came down to it, she was right. Because, you know, and it's still going on. There's a lot of channels I go to. And sometimes you get caught in the middle of all this stuff to where you want to support everybody, but then everybody don't understand the word support. Everybody don't understand the point of, you know, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So they coming in negative, they coming in hot, they coming in disrespectful, they coming in crazy, and all that energy, man, it gets drawn in, it gets sucked in, and some people like it, some people don't. But at the same time, hey, it's some energy that needs to be addressed, and it made me kind of, address this stuff to, not really be on a point of I don't care about nobody, but just basically, referring to that's not my beef. And I always, kind of help people to understand if you and a person have a problem or issue, that's among you two to fight it, swing it, do it, all that. You know, a lot of these people might have day ones that they're close to, and that's like none of my. I don't know. I don't not knowing how close you are to people on YouTube because from my understanding, I've only met about 4 people on YouTube. Well, I'm sorry, 3 people. I've only met, yeah, 3 people on YouTube, and out of the 3, you know, I would say two of us have, close talking ties and everything with each other. But saying the least though, when it comes down to it, like I don't see the big deal when a lot of people who you never met and just mostly talk to online, email back and forth, and y'all beefing over something that's real heavy like this to the point of it influencing your life. Never met in person, and there's just a lot of feelings coming involved with situations and emotional ties that you have with that person. Then so be it. I know sometimes money get involved, and money's a big thing. That's a crutch to the point where you're giving money out and receiving money. It's a problem when people are not paying money back. It's a problem when people are not doing things. I ain't the type to expose people, but other people are. I'm like, I'm just gonna let you do your thing. you know, and time, time speaks for itself. But when it come down to it, it's like you beefing with somebody you never met, but online, you having a situation to where y'all going at each other's throat that eventually is going to lead to somebody, you know, getting ruined for us their, their selves being in certain type of limelight or certain type of, feelings. I don't know, but it just, it's crazy. But, to the lesson at hand today, I was saying all that to say pretty much for the most part that people are listening, you know, and hey, you think that, hey, man, I do these lives and nobody's on my channel, nobody's respecting my voice. People are listening, and okay, you met about 40. What's going on, Wiley? You met about 40. I mean, I guess it's different for me. I mean, they're having a meetup. I'm thinking I might go to that meetup in Savannah that they doing. What's the lady with the T? I was just on our panel and I was gonna strike up this live, but they're having a meeting in Savannah and all of them been talking about it. And so I'm thinking I might go over there, you know. There's a lot of ladies and stuff, and so pop in and say hey and all that, but I know I ain't gonna stay too long or talk with them like that because I'm mostly probably gonna be down there with my wife. We gonna be moving around too. And so that's if I do go. That's more of a plus for me to run down there on a vacation, say hello, meet some people, then I go about my way, you know. And my wife, she not even into all this. Yeah, Miss T with the T. Yep, I was just on her panel and over there listening, and I was like, man, I gotta do a live. I was supposed to do one earlier, but me and another guy got on because he started talking about some stuff, and just something I wanted to get on the panel and talk about with him. Then there was another panel, the same thing happened with that. I was like, man, I'm gonna keep pushing this panel back the whole day. So I'm like, let me go ahead and jump on here, man. And I try to be quick about it. But like I said, people are listening. The message is the message. It carries for itself. You know, and a lot of times, like I said, we get all this back and forth with this gender war. The men are this, the women are this. I let everybody else take that, because honestly, Miss T with the T, you got a lot of dudes out here the same way. They Mr. T with the T. And so I let them have it. I barely touch on topics like, the incident that happened in Memphis because I try to let other channels, take on that, that fire, that flame, and try to give a little more information. Like I say, I'm not a financial advisor. I tell people do your research. I tell people to, go out there and look at buying a house, look at investing in stocks, look at investing in. I got a friend. He basically used to invest in Lending Club when they were giving so much money, but they got bought out by a bank. So what they were doing was you set up an account and people you give them money for loans. And according to how bad you want or more you want the money, you go according to that loan because there was loans that he would never go at that were giving high yields. You would get loans that would give you 6, 10 percent on your return. Then you had the company giving them, 20, maybe 30 on percent on their loans. But the thing is, the company got to make the money somehow, and in return, everybody's making money. And if they don't pay back the loan, guess what? It goes on their credit. So it's not like you running from, the process. It goes on your credit. And a lot of them, they was having good returns on those loans. But then you had those loans that didn't pay as much, but those were the safe loans. And to me, like the object of the game was to get a lot of people on them, bad loan deals. Because when it come down to it, the safe ones, you had people that had good credit score. They were paying, you know, they were doing good, but the ones that wasn't, my friend took advantage of it so good to where if his family wanted to borrow money, he would tell them go set up an account, give him the loan information, and he'll give him money on there. That's the only way he's giving out money because that makes you gotta pay the money back, and you structure it to a payment plan just like with a bank. I was like, dang, that's good. But like I said, getting back to these, like I let the I let the people that give the tea spill it. I talk my craziness when I be on other panels. Not getting it twisted. I be over there, talking crazy, going, having fun, laughing and joking at people and stuff. But it's like, how much we gonna, you know, more we gonna get into all this craziness? How much more we gonna try to, go at situations? You know, um, like I say, that the situation in Memphis, a lot of guys want the resignation of the chief. The chief went out there swinging. The chief didn't make that stupid decision. The chief didn't go along with all those gentlemen. Yeah, the chief hired him. Yeah, everybody makes bad judgment calls. Look at Bernie Madoff. Took all those people money. Now, if you put Bernie Madoff in a position to obtain more money like that again, you can't blame Bernie then. You got to blame the person that put him in that position or blame the people that actually dealt with him. Same thing with Kels in that situation. Same thing with Michael in that situation. Whether they innocent or they guilty, you already knew the situation at hand, which they were charged with. But yet you still, kind of had these situations to where you let them, be all over your kids or be a steward over this and that. So the outcome came out from what? You. I don't get that where a lot of people, you know, you want to point the finger and try to blame somebody else for your mistakes. A lot of the wrongdoing comes from you doing what? Not paying attention, not being on your game, not being on your square. We have these issues in our community. We have these issues in our home, but we want to point the finger at everybody else but ourselves. You know, if anybody's feet should be to the fire, it should be our own feet because why? We're liable for these damages that we cause on ourselves. Even in our kids, we don't teach our kids enough to go out here and maintain life. We teach our kids just enough to where we can be smarter than them and they can't question our authority. You know, there comes times where the kids know more than you. That shouldn't be a shame on them. That's a part of growth. I always speak on me trying to be better than my father. That was one of the reasons why I got so much more life insurance because I didn't go to the military to have, the military paying this, and my dad had life insurance on top of the military. Put together a trust. Certain things like that, a lot of people are not taking advantage of. A lot of people don't know. Only way you can take advantage and know about this stuff is if you're taught it. You know, that's why I try to institute some type of conversation to where we can get the ball rolling and say, well, he don't know that much about life insurance. Let me go over here to Alonzo Hall channel, who's a licensed financial advisor, and actually see what he has to say or see some input that can help me. You know, he's not a real estate agent. He don't know this. Maybe I can go over here to one of these real estate agent channels because don't get it twisted now. This is crazy. You literally have channels that promote life insurance and buying homes, but like I said earlier, they want the T for Mr. or Mrs. or Miss. They want the T. A lot of people want to be entertained. And I say this so much. It's the time and the place for everything. I like being entertained. I like laughing. I like having fun. But at the same time, it's gonna come a moment where you gotta grow. I was saying this on the guy panel earlier. I said I got friends that we're not close because they're in a situation of survival and getting money. That's all they worry about. When I mean getting money, not getting money to like a process, a quick flip. You know, I give you $2, I get 10 back. That type of getting money. The type of getting money to where, it leads to a situation if you're not careful. And who does that always affect? That always affect, mainly who? Mainly within the family structure, affects, wife and kids, but ultimately it affects that individual, and I was telling him, a lot of people are so much focused on the black and white of things, the color, the ethnic background, and not focused on themselves as being good people. That's the number one problem, because if you really know the bias situation between all this is all a money game. It ain't even about the whole big issue of this money, that money. The big issue that they have is mainly money. That's one of the main issues that a lot of people have out here is retaining and being about the money. You could be a good person, but if you make $100,000, people will love you. You could be a bad person making $100,000, people will love you. You could be a good person making $20,000, people, oh, you okay. Same applies when you a bad person, but to the degree, if you're a bad person, you can't say nothing to me. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say being a bad person making 100,000. I mean making 20,000, 10,000. You can't tell me nothing. I can't see past. We I mean, not even to shoot at the women though. You have a lot of these hold on right quick. Yeah, sorry about that. But let me highlight some of the people coming in the building. But yeah, like I said, I seen this one video where they would always get on the woman for being gold diggers. But the way society pushed it, you got to be a gold digger. I mean, and that instance right there, there's no difference between a black and white thing. There's not a difference between black and white. Gold diggers come in what? All shapes, colors, and sizes, and genders, because there are men gold diggers as well. So we can't say, man, look at all these women gold diggers. They're men gold diggers as well. You know. So what I say this too, and basically the mentioning of the title of the screen, people are listening. They listening, you know, they hearing what's going on, whether it's good or bad, whether it's information, whether it's just the point of the tea, or the back and forth with the news being pushed on channel. Shout out to Gold Professor. Gold Professor I always say this. He says a lot of these channels are like the news or like cable TV. You have news channels, you have entertainment channels, you have a plethora of channels that you can get at. And if you don't like the information, you don't like the talk, you don't like the dialogue on that channel, change the channel. You know, I never understand why people go back and forth on these channels, arguing and dealing with each other. If I don't like the information from this channel, I'm just gonna move around. If everybody on this channel has the same mindset and I have a different mindset, it's up to me to say, man, I'm not gonna be entertained by these guys or these women. I'm not gonna sit here and let them tell me what I know to be true or I know from my experience, because that's the biggest thing that I laughed at a lot of times with Kevin Samuels, with him talking. He always came from his experience. And a lot of people drop the ball on that because they don't understand what my experience means. This is what I go through, what I see, what I benefit, what I don't benefit from. You know, when we talk about the black experience, we're talking from our eyes, from which we see, which we grew up in. You know, it's not a diss saying that, you know, white people shouldn't be talking about what we go through and what we see, but you can't experience that without being in our shoes. You know, the lady that does the blue eye, green eye theory, and she talks to people about the injustice, the way she treats people with blue eyes different than green eyes, and they feel so horrible and so ashamed of it. But then when she goes into the effect of how we treat the black people that are, you know, in America, and she always asks this question: the way we treat black people in America, which one of y'all want to be black? And nobody raises their hand. So she shows them, this is what you know that you're doing to these people, and you think nothing is wrong with it because it's not nothing doing to you. You know, that's why I say, man, people are listening. We know, we get it. it. It's situations that we can't control. There's some situations that people can control, but just don't want to. And then there's other situations that, you know, we should be striving to do better for ourselves. Whether they want to change the situation or not, we should hold ourselves accountable. How many of us actually hold ourselves accountable for information and actions? Not many of us. You know, how many of us hold people, you know, in our life that have done us wrong accountable? Not many of us. We always go through these life experiences and these changes, and it's supposed to be for the greater good. It's supposed to be life lessons that teach us, you know, situations that we learn from. You don't, half of us don't even learn anything. How many times you hear a woman's talking about she's going through these experiences in the dating market? She didn't learn from the last relationship. A lot of times when you hear these cliches, even with men, the same way. You know how many men get their money taken because it's so-called like the game in which the game is to be played, and a lot of people don't know how to play the game in life. Whether people getting over on you with money, whether people, you know, taking advantage of you being respectable or humble, you know, that's the realm that we're in. Everybody's in a mindset to getting paid, getting over on people to get to the next level. Somewhat like a video game, you know. Uh, with Grand Theft Auto, when Grand Theft Auto first came out, it was two dimensional. You seen it from the rooftop, looking down. And the thing was going around, taking money, stealing, robbing, doing whatever, stealing cars, whatever it took to get to the next level, past the mission. That's what a lot of people are doing in life. Then you also have those people in life that are doing what? Going against the grain. They're sitting up here being productive. I was telling Rogish when I was on this panel this morning that it shouldn't have only just been Malcolm and Martin. It should have been hundreds and upon thousands of people with that same belief that died with Malcolm and Martin. But because Malcolm and Martin died, everybody else held back. You know, And hey, if you really believe in the cause to the extent it's if it's worth dying for, that's what it has to be. And one of the things I always talk to my wife about, that's why I try to get so many things right now. My parents, I outlived my mom, and in a couple of years, I'll make it to my dad. If I can outlive my dad, I mean I outlived both of my parents before their timely demise. And seeing as that, a lot of people, man, you squander away life because it's not appreciative. You don't look at life, you take things for granted, you know, and situations at hand, yeah, you're gonna go through things. Trouble don't last always, you know. If I have a situation with somebody and it's bad, why am I still around that person? You know, Go P say, and yes, Go Professor, I always call him Go P for short. My cutoff game is strong. You know, I gave him the name Mr. No. I said, I don't know if anybody told you, but man, you say no too much. I'm like, you Mr. No. He's like, hey, if I Mr. No, then I'm Mr. No. To cut people off with all this, foul and crazy stuff towards you, honestly, it comes to a point where everybody makes mistakes and they have situations they got to be held accountable for. But by you being emotional about stuff that you're doing wrong because no one's taking your side, come on. You know, we go through this all the time when we will and deal with people. I'm in my feelings because I want you to look at the situation the way I want you to look at it. I want you to feel this way because I feel this way. We friends. We supposed to be cut from the same cloth. We brothers and sisters. We're in a relationship. Anytime somebody go against the grain and don't feel the way you feel, there's a problem. But then if you look at it, why does it have to be a problem? If somebody can't voice their opinion, take it into consideration. It could be the wrong information. I used to always listen to, people. They used to give me bad advice. I knew it was bad advice. Sometimes I didn't even know it was bad advice, but I just took it, examined it, looked at it. There was Google wasn't highly favored back then and there. You know what Google was? Google was you getting out here and actually doing the research and talking to people. You know, seeing people getting a divorce. Why did they get a divorce? Why did this person get a divorce? What's the divorce rate in my family? All the people that got divorces in my family, why are they getting divorced? You know, why my family not rich? Why my cousins and them got more money than me, but I don't have a lot of money? Why my cousins and them get all this luxurious stuff and I can't get that? So that boils down to you doing a research. Anybody remember the Dewey Decimal System? Going through the Dewey Decimal System, looking it up, figuring it out, looking it up and figuring it out. And it comes to that point to where a lot of us, we lost touch, especially us millennials, the Gen Xers, we lost touch. I was in the store the other day and this lady said, man, I can't remember no numbers to save my life. But back in the day when I had, you know, that landline, I can shoot out I still know my auntie and my uncle and my cousin tried to keep that number and the phone company was giving him so much trouble about it. So much trouble. Still remember the number today. 244-244-1444. It's somebody else's number now, but it was just funny how all them fours in there. He was like, man, I got to keep that number. That number is unique. That number is unique. and somebody else wanted that number. So my auntie and my uncle, when they let that number go, oh, that was the best thing for whoever wanted that number. Boy, I tell you, because they was gunning for it. They was ready to get that number right there, you know. But like I say, saying the least, man, we have information that we need to keep in our head. We have things that we need to give to others. And a lot of that information that we giving to others, you can get about at least maybe 5 of us to listen. 2 of us. Every time I do a live, I'm guaranteed to have at least about 5 to 10 people in that live. The numbers fluctuate, but having that conversation, that's what I try to push. Like I said, me being a financial advisor, no. Me being a real estate agent, no, but I do the study. Me and my wife is having this conversation. I'm about to get off. She was like, I'm calling all these banks. I'm learning all this stuff. This is good information. I never knew this. I said, exactly. I know this. You need to know this. And she was like, well, you made me buy the house and everything by looking up all the stuff myself and everything. And I'm this and I'm that. And I'm like, but that's the whole point. If I know the information and you don't, if something was to happen to me or we're not together no more, guess what? Someone's going to get over on you because you don't know the information. And that boils down to that, if you know, you know. So with that being said, shout out to everybody that came through. Hey, do some research. Now hold on. Let me make sure everybody on here got rentals before I jump up off here. All right, had to make sure everybody good and steady. They ready to move on. And hey, drop your channel. That's I always be forgetting to say that, but for people that's on the panels and so forth, always drop your channels because I like promoting channels. I like going to channels. I like giving people new information. But the thing is, sometimes you get caught up in that wave, and that's why I say I try not to shout out names coming through. Every once in a while, I give a special attention, but I mostly try to keep the conversation flowing and going. So shout out to everybody that came through. And like I said, keep learning, man, doing your research. You're not gonna be the best at everything, but at least try to be the best at something. You know, find it a way to grow a little bit and learn a little bit each and every day. That's all I'm trying to just push. You know, I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not saying I'm the best at everything, but at the same time, at least I can try to be. And with that being said, like I say, we here and we gone.